Welcome back to my channel. Just another project for you guys today. Stick around. So today we're going to take some old track lights that dates from the early 2000s. We are going to install some swivel pot light with adjustable from 3000 to 5000 K for wattage. This is the setup of the place. All the measurements are there. I laid out the room. I've got 3 track lights. It's right now at these locations, not marked on this. You can see 2 of them. We've got some skylights also, so I need to stay in between the skylights in all the zones. Then I will follow that pattern for the other end of the room, where in this case I'm going to add one that's going into a small hallway. And the only reason why this one doesn't match, it's going to be moved just quite a bit because these are countertops and an island right here. So this will cover this whole area. So I'm going to start by removing those. And now the material needed for this job is, we have the pot light by the 35,000. This is just an adjustment. You can adjust the lights. So they're 120 volt, 50-60 hertz, 0.9 amp, 10 watts. And say they're going to gimbal, and the reason for that is because we have a cathedral ceiling. So we'll be able to set the angle for proper lighting. Some electrical tools. This is a dust pole, very useful. Keep dust around. 4 1/4 inch hole saw, some gray connectors, drill, 2 lights basically for in the attic. Little vacuum, clean up the minor mess thanks to this bowl. Some minor mess anyway to pick up. Some 14-2, some barrettes, pliers, screwdriver, pencil, and a measuring tape, which is in that bag. And these here, I will show you why I'm reusing some old wire, some leftover from strip from a job. And you can add to this the ladder. So first thing, we're going to transfer all these measurements, which are all these numbers with the amount of lights that we're getting. So because we are going with 4 lights, normally you'd have a measurements here, which would be, so basically you would take that 34.6 inch, you divide it by 1 space, 3 space, 5 space, 7 space, and 8 space. So this is the measurements of 1 and 1 is doubled between the lights. In this case, due to those skylights, I'm just gonna go in between, divide that by 2, and follow those lines to get those installed, instead of doing the regular measurements of 1 space against the wall to 2 space in between lights for the down projection of lights, right? Like this. It's a triangle basically. So that's why 1 space there, 2 space there, here, 1, 1, 1, 1. This is going to be over a kitchen table, And here are counters and countertop and an island. So this will cover as all that. This one will be in the center of the island and the kitchen table. Now for this one, it's just a small hallway. I'm gonna add one center to that hallway, and I'm gonna space it between the end of this light, the edge of that light, to that wall. And these are gonna be on one switch. These are gonna be on one switch. And these four here are gonna be on the other switch. Open space, kitchen, living room, hallway. So I'm now going to transfer measurements on paper to my ceiling. So here I add 89 from the skylight to the wall. So 44 and a half. It's going to be a measurement here. So center to space, and then from the top of the cathedral point, I'm going to measure down, which is going to be half from the wall to the edge. Now, from the wall to the end of the room, I've got 18.2 inch. Since I want to go from my existing track light that's right here, it's going to be dead center of that measurement. Because it's a cathedral ceiling, I kind of brought it down. If it would be level, so the light here is going to have to be just slightly higher to cover the whole area because of the angle. But remember, the spotlights are gimbal, so it's going to be adjusted level with the floor. So I can still kind of put it center. Those are all drilled. Some are installed. The other ones I'm just going to put a piece of cardboard tape there, and I'll be able to work in the upstairs without having any debris coming into the house. So everywhere there was a strapping that I have to deal with up in the attic, this is what I did. I just put a piece of paper. I always like to keep the client's house clean. So after I'll be done upstairs putting the junction box and do the connection, I'm going to just push the wire deep enough to make it contact with the paper there without moving too much of that insulation up there. So I'll just have to do the connection in here and push the pot light in. And now where I've removed all the track lights, there was a connector at the end of this wire. So I removed it just to do minimum damage. When I'll be up in the attic, to pull them up there to reuse that circuit for the light. Without the connector, it's going to be easier. I'm now going into the attic. I'm going to bring this box with me where I got my connectors, all the box, barrettes, screws, wire, bringing an extra roll of wire also. Don't think I have enough on that. And I'm taking 2 lights, pliers, strippers, and a knife. So I'm now in the attic, and by pushing those pieces of wire, you can see where all the holes are. So you just have then to go around those and find where you need to hook up. And this is the way I've been doing it for a while now because it saves a lot of trouble. that insulation, the less you move it, the better it is for heat consumption in the house. So everywhere that I've poked the wire through, I just have to go there, pull a wire to it. And same thing for the track light I removed, where the wire sticked out and it was wired into the track light. I pushed one up, and then I know where my feed is going to be. And I just hope it's going to be long enough to connect to one of those lights. So that long one there is going to be from one of the track lights. So this is where my feed is going to be. So if I'm lucky, I'll be able to come and connect to this spotlight. That's going to be here, and then just daisy chain in a parallel arrangement to pick up all the other pots. And I've got one circuit, but 3 different loads here. So one's going to cover open space for kitchen. Then I have a living room. Then I have section where that little hallway goes in, and the stairs going down the basement in the house. So I'll get ready, prepared to wire one of these, and I will show you the process and what it takes to get one wired, and then they're all going to be the same. So by digging here, I should be able to find my main line. So now that I know, I just move kind of slowly all that stuff there, put it on the side because it's quite thick. And I'm just looking for that wire in there. I guess it's on that side. It's very stubborn. Oh, see? There I have it. So it comes from this side. I brought a big screwdriver, which I can remove the staples. So the wire's here, just next to it. I have one sticking out. So I'm going to try, see how it came from there, so it's long enough to do the first spotlight. So I'll remove some insulation from that area. Then I'll find the next one where I'm going to go, so I can pre-cut piece of wire and then do the connection in the box here. So I'm going to get to this and I'll show you when I start the wiring of one. So there's the pot light. And here is my feed from the track light. And here's my wire going to my next light as a parallel wiring. And in here, this is the box. There was 2 knockouts like that. So I punch one out. And these are just push-ins. So you only need to do joints if you have more than 2 wire going into one, because this is a 3 connection. So you can have an in and an out, and this is your power going to your light, which is your load, and your lines in and out will go in those 2. So I strip both wires, put them through the connector, and snap the connector on the box. Now I'm going to push the two white ones for the white terminal, which is this one, two black one in this terminal, and the two bare, the copper, in the green one. So it's just a matter of pushing until they snap and they stay stuck in there. So this is what you're gonna have. Two bare pushed in, and see how they're sticking out past the locking groove. Same thing for the white. You can see the two wires sticking up. Same thing for the black. And if you don't see them sticking out in that cap here, that means they're not pushed in far enough. So they need to be sticking out. See? So I'm just going to close this, connect this end of the wire to the one for the pot light. A lot of dust, sorry about that, but it's going to connect to this. Just treads on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep on wiring these. So I'm doing 11 pot light, 3 different zones. Lights are all done. Basically no mess in the house. So what I'm going to do now there, I'm just going to go up back in the attic just to clean up the blown in insulation to be sure it's a good seal again. So I kind of left some holes open too upstairs in the attic just to be able to put the pot light without having too much debris falling into the house space. So you can actually see up in the ceiling where the track lights were. It was crack filled before, but the wire was pulled down, right? So there's a hole to patch for that. And the edge of the track light, when it was screwed in, it kind of left a seam in the drywall. So I'm just going to patch that. This will be the next thing. Then I'm going to repaint the ceiling. And now that it's all done, it was a total of 11 light. So way better than the 3 track lights we had. They were LEDs, but still, I think the customer's going to be way happy with this. So at this point, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in the attic, finish that up, then I'll come down and I'm going to start patching or filling those holes and those lines that the track light left. Well, I just figured I'd stop there, take a minute just to show you, because I did 2 coats there on all 3 spots there up on the ceiling. And some of them there, after a second coat, I did like a quick sanding, and I could feel like little bumps in that, just some damage there that's under the paper and that. So I had to restick some paper, and so now basically I just kind of put a skim coat where it was a little crack and stuff like that. So it was nothing major there, but just to make it look kind of as much perfect as I can. So so now I guess it's just sanding, maybe another like 5 minutes each or less. Then I'll put a coat of primer on it, and with the primer you'll be able to see if there's still defects or something you'd like to fix before you put paint on it. So this is where things are at, and I'm hoping maybe the next couple hours going to be dry enough to get it done. Well, welcome back. This is day 2. So now that the patching has been done, I just sanded everything, so we're good to go on the painting. And I was lucky enough to be able to find just a quart of the color of the ceiling. So I had a number there on an old can that the customer had, so I was able to go to Benjamin Moore and they did just a quart. That's all I needed just to patch there a couple spots. So when I do my painting, I always like to take, it doesn't matter if it's going to be a big tray or a small tray. You can say I've been using this one there for a while. It's, you know, a little bit of paint into it, but I always take this sticky saran wrap, just cut a piece big enough to be able to squeeze and stick it right in there. Then as you go in there, you know, covers that whole thing, and I just wiped on the side. So at least if you're gonna reuse your roller, your paintbrush, that's the only thing that you'll have to wash and clean up. You can just peel this after, now that it's sealed in there tight. See, there we go. So basically, keeps at least one thing that you use clean. Probably not the best up tray, but it's working for me. So now for the paint, I kind of confirmed already it was the color of the ceiling. Will dry a little lighter, but that's the color basically. And I'm just using a soft roll for this. It's what I always use. I find the result better, especially when you did a patch. If you have a nice fluffy roll, it's gonna leave the paint like with little texture, but not that you can really see, but just enough texture in there to make it even and kind of look like you never touched any of those holes. And my guess, probably 2 coats on that. So roll in. I've pre-mixed this about 5 minutes ago, so that's ready to go. A bit of paint. Just clean the side with the roll. See, it's pretty clean, so wherever you're gonna leave it, you know it's not gonna drip the counter on the floor. So that's just another thing you want to have to clean. Just gonna put the lid gently on it, set this aside, and I'm gonna get up there. I'm gonna do a bit of painting, and here we go. Hope it matched. That's one spot. I'm just gonna repeat on the other 2, and I'll wait for it to be very dry, because if you go on fresh crack fill, even though it's very dry, it adds moisture to it. So you don't want to add too much moisture. So just kind of go gently on it be sure it's very dry before you put a second coat on it, otherwise it's going to create like bubbles into it where the paint won't. Finish painting the ceiling, just a couple spots. So I think it's fairly shaded there. I'll get a bit close. So now it's drying. It's the second coat, so looks all done. And what I did there, as soon as I was done, I took time to, I'm going to be reusing this roll, you know, like to recycle. Basically the channel is all about DIY and cost saving, so I bring it to a next job. From what I was saying too in the tray, I'm already cleaning a roll. In this case, there was no brush needed. It's pretty simple. So by putting this finger wrap stick on, and just peel it off your tray. And this is just old dry paint into it, but keeps it clean. So basically, sometimes I'll be painting 3 or 4 different color. I only bring a tray. I just change this every time. So it saves from washing like 3 times, right, to get to the 4th one. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And most important, if you did, please subscribe, hit the bell. I'd like to bring you the best content possible, and I need your support to be able to do this. Next project, most likely, is going to be installing a generator panel into a house. So if you stay tuned and you subscribe, you won't miss this one. Maybe you'll learn something from it. Maybe I'll learn something from you. You can leave some comments. So thanks for watching, and keep in mind, YOKIKNOWDIY can get a lot done, I think, together.